If we as a species share one attribute, it's our need to understand. Everyone goes about it in a different way. We have Christianity, evolution, Buddhism, the Big Bang Theory. Perhaps some of them are right, perhaps none of them are right. Religion asks for your faith, and as much as I hate to admit it, so does science sometimes. It's just that no one really has all the answers, so sometimes you have to trust, and you have to believe. But is it really necessary to take these flying leaps of faith? According to evidence, religion is proven to help recover from depression, escaping the poverty cycle, and even improving the likelihood of a happy marriage. After all, when being given the belief that some higher being cares for you, an enormous amount of hope is felt. But just like any coin, there's another side. Religion has caused discrimination, exclusion, even mass genocide. So how did it come about, if for a moment we assume that the biblical history is false? One of the more popular theories is that religion formed essentially from evolution. Long ago, our brains increased in size and sophistication, and they began to allow for our far-back ancestors to wonder about the world. Back then, society didn't have much room for scientists and philosophers, but people still needed answers. The result may have been religion, an answer to practically every question, as well as a reason for survival. For a long time it seems that this worked, until we began to get too intelligent for our own good. The capability for deception, and the realization that there are benefits, however fleeting and not worth it, of suppressing others. So came on the Holy Wars, the Dark Ages. When something is believed as deeply as religion is, people are not willing to compromise, to agree that maybe someone else is right and they're wrong. There are hundreds upon thousands of different religions in the world today. They're almost all based on the same things. The idea that a God or a higher being exists, a set of moral standards, and the belief in something more than just life. These are all things that help both society as a whole and the individual. Religion gives society something to function on, and the individual person something to believe in. So although each religion can be quite different in some aspects, the religious feelings and experiences from multiple faiths can all be explained in the same way. This was proven by a study done by Andrew Newberg, a doctor at the University of Pennsylvania. He used single proton emission computed tomography, or SPECT, to take images of the brain during meditation or prayer. The study showed that during the meditation done by Buddhist monks, there is increased blood flow to the frontal lobe and decreased blood flow to the parental lobe. The frontal lobe is responsible for concentration, and the increased blood flow to that area shows that the monks were concentrating while entering the meditation. The partial lobe is responsible for orienting us in the 4 dimensions of space and time. The decreased blood flow to this area means that the monks would start to lose track of where one thing ends and another begins, giving the feeling of being one with the universe. Very similar results were found with Christian nuns in prayer. There was, however, a difference with the Pentecostal Christians while speaking in tongue. For them, there is decreased blood flow to the frontal lobe. This illustrates decreased amounts of concentration, which is in agreement with the description given by those who have spoken tongue, a feeling of not being in control and letting something else speak through you. TLE, or temporal lobe epilepsy, is a condition that affects one or both of the temporal lobes. It causes partial or complete seizures that can affect the entire body. St. Paul was a biblical character who went blind for 3 days before regaining his sight after Aeneas of Damascus restored it. He then underwent conversion and became a powerful preacher for the word of Christ. The flashing lights, voices, and falling to the ground that were recorded are all signs of having a seizure, and some scientists believe that St. Paul may have suffered from temporal lobe epilepsy. In fact, it is believed that multiple religious figures may have been epileptic. A study was done on how certain words affect those with epilepsy and compared to those without. It was found that sexual words produced a greater change in the brain chemistry for someone without epilepsy, while people with epilepsy showed a greater change in brain chemistry after hearing words to do with religion, and that sexual words had much less effect on them. Since most cases of epilepsy affect mostly the temporal lobe, this points further evidence towards its involvement in religious experiences. It was also proven by Dr. Michael Persinger that religious experiences could be replicated artificially when he made the God helmet. The God helmet alters the electromagnetic field of the temporal lobe of whoever is wearing it. Around 80% of people who have tried it reported sensing a presence nearby. This includes anything from gods to demons. Essentially, it has the possibility to allow you to feel the presence of a creator without having to meditate or fast. Richard Dawkins, famous for his criticism of religion, didn't seem to be affected after having the God helmet on. Persinger said that this was further proof that some people are more genetically open to sensing the presence of a God than others. The question that this brings up is whether or not there are advantages to being genetically open to religion. According to various evolutionary biologists, there are both group and individual advantages to being hardwired for religion. The knowledge that something bigger than you is watching you could help people to make better choices, which would lead to better chances of survival, making religion an evolutionary beneficial factor. So the question is, if we work under the assumption that there is no such thing as an afterlife or any higher spiritual beings, is it worth it to believe in religion? Is it better to believe in a helpful lie or a depressing truth?